Greetings and salutations, YouTube family and friends. T-Rav Vlogs here. What's up, guys? Conventions in and of themselves have the potential for a lot of fun to be had. From the events and panels to attend, to the industry guests to meet, to the merchandise to procure, the chances of fun being had at conventions are quite high. But every once in a while, there are outside factors that can add to a particular convention experience. The factor that I want to focus on is location. Today on Convention Memories. For this particular episode, I want to take a look at some of my favorite locations and venues where conventions have happened in the past, be they local or a little bit further away. If there's something special about the venue or location as a whole, then that is something that I want to focus on. The first venue that we're going to look at is the Gateway Center in Collinsville, Illinois. Now, I was first introduced to the Gateway Center back in 2010, or TornadoCon 1 as we have come to affectionately know it. This was the first repeat venue that Anime St. Louis decided to stick with, as in previous years they bounced from hotel to the St. Charles Convention Center, which ended up being their home base later on down the line once they returned to it. And then they finally came to the Gateway Center and decided to stay there for a few years, kind of giving us convention goers a little bit of regularity when it came to the venue. You can just keep coming back to the same place, we know where it's going to be, we know what to expect, and fun is going to be had. When utilized correctly, the Gateway Center can be pretty versatile as a building. There's a lot of space to work with, and I know when Anime St. Louis was pretty much at capacity, they were using every single room that the building had to offer. And because of all the different rooms spaced out the way they were, there never really was any overcrowding that was going on, at least that I could see or that I could tell while I was there. Now, when a smaller convention only rents out certain parts of the Gateway Center, then you kind of have the potential, if you get a big crowd, to have some overcrowding and a bunch of people getting smushed into a small area for prolonged periods of time. But as I said, when utilized correctly, the venue itself can be very versatile. When it comes to lodging accommodations, the Gateway Center partners with the DoubleTree, which is literally right next door to them. All you have to do is go on a walkway over a walkover bridge and you're at the hotel. In fact, a couple of ASTLs, they actually use some of the convention rooms in the hotel to branch out and expand even more to prevent overcrowding in the Gateway Center, which really helped. Now, for some convention goers, the DoubleTree was a little bit pricey. They weren't able to afford the entire weekend there, but fear not, there are plenty of other motel and hotel accommodation options all around that little complex area. Some right across the street, some next door on the other side to the convention center, and some down the ways from the complex itself. One year we stayed at a Days Inn right at the very end there as you're coming into the Gateway Center complex, and we got free breakfast every single day. It was probably the cheapest accommodations that were there, and it was still within walking distance. So even if we didn't want to shell out the money to stay at the DoubleTree, which is a pretty swanky hotel already, we were able to get something within our budget and still be able to get to the convention every single day without any problems. So the fact that they had multiple options to choose from made the Gateway Center a pretty prime location to have a convention over and over and over again. Another thing to look at is meal options, because as we all know, if you're attending a convention, you need to be making sure that you're eating properly. It's part of the 6-2-1 rule, people, so definitely make sure you're getting your 2 decent square meals every day of the convention. And when it came to meal options, there are, again, plenty of things to choose from in Collinsville, Illinois, right there at the Gateway Center. If you wanted something fast, there was McDonald's, there was Arby's, White Castle, something you could just go in, grab a burger, get back to the convention so you didn't miss anything. You could totally do that. If you wanted a more sit down and relaxing option, they had, of course, the restaurant in the DoubleTree, which again, pretty pricey, but what do you expect with hotel food? There's a nice Mexican restaurant in the parking lot of the Gateway Center itself. They have Ruby Tuesday, Denny's, Bob Evans. At the time when we were going for Anime St. Louis, there was a Ponderosa, but in more recent years it turned into a Colton Steakhouse. And let me tell you, that became a favorite of ours very quick. Once Colton's moved into town, we knew where we were eating at least one meal every single day of that convention, because the food there and the service is awesome. They always look forward to expecting the cosplayers and costumers. The staff loves that. The management loves that. They're always kind to us. It's always been a great time, and when all this craziness is over, I can't wait to go back because I really miss that place. I miss the venue in and of itself. I love the Gateway Center. I love Collinsville, Illinois, and it will always have a special place in my heart because that was one of the first repeat locations, as I said before, that we experienced when going to conventions. So Gateway Center in Collinsville, Illinois, you get 2 thumbs up from me as far as venue and location goes. The next venue that I want to take a look at is over in Rosemont, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, in the Hyatt Regency and Stevens Convention Center. We've attended Midwest Fur Fest there and Anime Central, and though we've only gone twice, that location really stands out in my mind, and honestly I already feel like it's a special place, and anytime we return, I felt this when we came back for Anime Central, it just, the atmosphere was electric when you get there. It's pretty much secluded in its own little area, surrounded by toll booths, so if you're going, no matter what direction that you go in, you're going to be paying to get in, but once you're there, you're pretty much sucked in, and it's time for the convention, people. Again, like the Gateway Center, if used correctly, the venue can be very spacious. You have lots of room to spread out. Going to Midwest Fur Fest and Anime Central, we really got to see both spectrums of how room is utilized. Midwest Fur Fest was continuously growing, but they spent most of the concentration in the hotel area, the Hyatt Regency. Pretty much every room was utilized in that place, but then they also had a little spillover into the convention center itself for like the dealer's room and whatnot at the time. Now, I haven't been in recent years, but I understand that they've also expanded out even more in the convention center nowadays to kind of help with the cramming issue because, again, the convention is growing, so they need to be able to expand elsewhere. And if they need to use the convention center even further, they totally can, because we got to see what that looked like at Anime Central when you had the entirety of the convention center being used and the entirety of the Hyatt Regency being used, and even then the crowds were pretty nuts. There were a lot of bodies in a lot of areas, from the lobby to the hotel to the main foyer in the convention center. A lot of people were taking up a finite space, but still I have to describe the mood as electric. Again, with the hotel options, plenty to choose from. You have the Hyatt Regency, but if you don't want to fork out the money for that as the main hotel, Rosemont is essentially just a giant parking garage right smack dab in the middle of the town, and it is surrounded by hotels. There is a sky bridge that can be connected to almost all of the hotels, so if the weather isn't cooperating, you can get from your hotel to the convention center undercover and not have to worry about ruining your costume or having your day ruined in general. Side note about that though, with a huge convention like Anime Central, those hotels fill up fast. When we went to Anime Central, we had to go to a hotel down the road, so we had to actually commute back and forth, not just walk, but drive from the hotel to the convention center every day, and luckily we were able to find parking because that is apparently an issue if you show up late to Anime Central from day to day. Midwest Fur Fest, we really didn't have to worry about that. We had a nice hotel at the Loft. It was right there in the parking garage, and every day, no problem getting to the convention center or the hotel. So again, very nice to have that area with all of those hotels kind of in that immediate space. Dining options, again, like Collinsville, Illinois, you have the hotel restaurants, and there are plenty of them, trust me. You have the one that's in the Hyatt, you have a pizza kitchen, you have a steakhouse. There's all sorts of places in the different hotels if you want to stop off and eat there. You have in the convention center itself, attached to it, a nice little place called the Expoteria. I have heard some complaints from other con goers about that particular area, but when we went, the food was good, the service was nice, and even at Anime Central, they kind of made it fit the theme of the convention by having some Japanese fare. It wasn't very authentic, but I have to give them an A for effort because they really tried to embrace the anime and Japanese culture scene. And then of course in the commons area of Rosemont itself, you have other options as well. You have novelty places like the Sugar Factory. There's a bowling alley and lounge where you can grab a bite and bowl a couple of games with your friends if you want to. There's the Sky Lounge. We ate there once for Anime Central, but the place that we liked to frequent when we were there was the Five Roses Irish Pub. I know you saw a little bit about that in my Midwest Fur Fest video, and again, kind of like Colton's, that became our favorite place when we came back for Anime Central. One thing we knew we had to do was return to the Five Roses because, again, the atmosphere, the food, the service, they're all happy to see us as convention goers, and they're happy to serve us. We told the waitress there when we came back for Anime Central that we weren't even from the area. We came back just to make sure that we ate at the Five Roses, and she even gave us some coupons so that we could return and make it easier to do so. So while Rosemont is a little more hustle and bustle than Collinsville, I still have to say there's a special place in my heart for Rosemont, Illinois, the Hyatt Regency, and Stevens Convention Center. And again, once all this craziness dies down, we have to make a trip back to at least Midwest Fur Fest because any excuse to go back to Rosemont, Illinois is a good excuse. And I have to finish by giving an honorable mention to the DoubleTree at Westport Plaza, where GFM has been having their conventions kind of back to back. You don't get any really accommodation options. You're pretty much staying at the DoubleTree, but they keep the price affordable, and the staff loves the fact that we're there. Every time they're always so nice to us and so welcoming. I never feel like I'm out of place when I'm there. So they really picked a good venue in a place where the staff can really appreciate what we're doing there. Of course, you're just outside of Westport Plaza, so you have the nightlife there if you want to venture out and go see that. You've got a few restaurants at which to eat. There's a comedy club there. You've of course got the restaurant in the hotel, which isn't quite as pricey as some of the other places that I've seen, and again, super nice staff. But one of the things we look forward to, and yeah, we're a little biased, is it's just a few minutes drive away from the Asian district in St. Louis, so you know we're going there pretty much every single day, whether it's to load up on Japanese snacks or stop off for a quick bowl of pho or some fresh sushi or a nice dim sum dinner. There's all kinds of different Asian dining options and a few other ethnic places as well in that particular area to kind of please the palate when you want to step out from the convention for a while and just have a nice social gathering with your friends. So there we have it, a few of my favorite venues and locations. When I'm attending conventions, I always look forward to going to these particular places, and I cannot wait to return someday to these locations, be it just a hop, skip, and a jump away at Westport Plaza or Collinsville, or taking a slight drive up to Rosemont, Illinois. So many wonderful memories at these places, and every time I go, it's just such a good feeling, and I always get just a little bit tingly inside knowing that I'm going to visit these wonderful places once again. So as I always say, if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing and what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any videos. We're winding down here on the series. I think I've pretty much got one more thing I want to cover in the convention memories realm here. Unless you all have any stories you wish for me to elaborate upon, let me know in the comments below if you want to see any of that. If not, be looking for this series to finally start winding down here pretty soon. Not sure exactly what I'm going to be doing after the fact. Hey, again, if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. I always love to hear from you guys. But for now, that's really all I have to say about that. So until next time, I'll talk to you soon, and take care. Bye-bye.